What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and this is the Soccer Comic Rant. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we're going to cover a bunch of things. We had the North London Derby. We also had the Manchester Derby, and I'm wearing my glasses because I want to make sure the score that I saw at the end of the game for the Manchester Derby was accurate. Numbers was high, and it didn't seem realistic. So that's why I got the glasses on. We're also going to talk about Chelsea, Conor Gallagher. We don't know if Martin's going to join. Probably not, because Spurs took a big L in the North London Derby. And then we'll see what else we got. We got Champions League coming up this week, midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Europa League. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. Like and subscribe. And also comment, after you watch or listen to the video. And we have Neil Chakravarty, stand-up comic, Chelsea fan, and maybe Lee will join us. But what up, Neil?
All good. Surprisingly, turned out to be a decent weekend as a Chelsea fan.
Speak for yourself.
Yes, as a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, as a Chelsea fan, yeah. Feeling good about your last-minute win and the way it was accomplished. That was the best way possible for it to be accomplished.
No, I'd like it to be. I'd like it to be a little less heart attacky, a little more convincing than that. But take 3 points and move.
Yeah, take the 3 points and then just the
breathe.
The irony of the person who scored the winning goal.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the football gods do things for the story, and it's like maybe in the next few games you guys will play convincing football, but right now you're gonna have play moment football, like the type of football that will never let you forget certain moments.
And anyway, this season is a write-off for 19 teams, right? So how does it really matter how we do well on game weeks 8 or 9 or 10? Like, I don't even know at this point why we're going to have this podcast for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we know what the deal is.
Football is finished.
It's pretty much finished. So let's go into the Manchester
why it's finished,
and why it's finished. And one of the titles for one of these episodes a few weeks ago was the Premier League has a Haaland problem, right? And so Manchester United plays City. Haaland scored a hat trick, and you get taunted by certain people from other teams about look how your team did. You get online, hazing. And my thing is, yeah, we had a Haaland problem this week, but you're gonna have it next week. Nobody gets to escape the Haaland problem. Like, this is a league problem. Like he's just turned the Premier League into the Bundesliga, with Bayern is just going to win every week and every season as long as he's with them. And so, yeah, we had trouble with him. We had our hands full. You could laugh. Brentford, you could put out those tweets at halftime. It said Brentford, Man City, 4-0 at the half against Man United, which Brentford, you should just learn your lesson and stay out of grown folks' business, because the last time you tweeted against Arsenal, that tweet got thrown back in your face. So that's why you should just chill. Football comes around and we are Man United. So let me just get to the game. And I thought we were going to be competitive. I thought we was going to show up. And I thought we was going to lose 1-0, maybe 2, or get a tie, which would have been a win for us. We're at the Emirates, and we're playing, the champs that have added Erling Haaland. And we didn't show up like it was a derby. We didn't show up with any confidence. We didn't show up with any physical conviction. We didn't we left our mentality on the bus or the hotel or just across the street in our stadium. Like, and you can't play Man City without mentality. You know what I mean? You have to put them under pressure. And I know we ran. I'm not saying we didn't run, but you have to make them run from you. They can't make you run around chasing them. You know what I mean? You have to like deter them from doing what they want to do. And there wasn't enough of that. There wasn't enough intensity. There wasn't enough pressure. It's like people are like calling out different things in the game, but here's the main thing to me. Like, why don't I'm gonna ask you a rhetorical question? Why don't we start? But it's not really a rhetorical question. I'm gonna ask you, why don't we start Ronaldo?
I mean, see, here's the thing. Like, we are talking about a new manager here, right?
No. But just as a football person, like, why don't you think we start Ronaldo?
I don't think he's a player for the modern style of center forward that most managers are looking for.
And what is the modern style?
I mean, somebody who offers more than just goals up front. Somebody offers the presence in midfield. Somebody offers pressing. Because all teams like to counter press from the front.
There you go. So if Rashford is going to start, you have to press, or else if you're gonna jog, if you're just gonna jog up to people, you might as well just play Ronaldo.
I totally agree. Yeah.
So because it's a whole team thing, right? Like the game starts from up front. You press, then we all press, and then we're into our system. But if you don't start the system from up front, then you might as well just start Ronaldo. So yesterday, I feel like Marcus Rashford could have went more maniac, could have pressed harder. He could have, like, Gabriel Jesus is a perfect example of someone who leaves a mark. Not only is he technically gifted, but he will leave a physical mark on any defender that he's up against. Rashford didn't do that yesterday. And like Rashford has been scoring some amazing goals, but the one goal, and this, I saw Gabriel Jesus score a goal on Saturday, and we played on Sunday. And when I saw him score that goal, I was like, that's what's missing from Marcus Rashford. He needs to put more pressure on defenders. And then it's funny, we played the next game, and he exhibited exactly what I thought was missing from him. Like, you can't just score the goal where you beat the defender to the ball, especially when they put Walker back there. You have to put these guys under pressure. You have to lead from the front. Like, even though I'm going to just switch to another player from another game, an ex-United player, Welbeck, even though he hasn't really scored for Brighton Hove, he leads the line. He does his job. And somebody else who's doing an effective job leading the line and scoring goals is Mitrovic from Fulham. He leads the line and he actually gets goals. So Rashford, you gotta push harder. You gotta like steer Man City off course because you're running at them. And then everybody else has to keep the high line and pressure these people. Like this is what we wanted. But the whole team, not just him, didn't go in with that type of intensity, and they jumped on us immediately, and they had their way. Then they scored 2 goals, and then the other 2 goals that they scored in the half, the second 2 were transition goals when our type of goals, the goals we were supposed to score on them. Like now we're down 2, and we're losing the ball in their area, and they're transitioning really fast, and they get 2 other goals on us. I want to say I was proud of the 3 goals that we scored in the second half, that we didn't give up, and that Marcus Rashford Marshall got 2, and that was a wonder goal by Anthony. And so everybody who was saying, why was Eriksen playing in the midfield and like in the position he's played that position in the 5 out of 6 games that we won. So that's his position. That's not the problem. The problem was the lack of mentality of the team in the first half and how we came out. Like there were some chances we had of like just one correct pass accurately done, and we would have cut them open early in the game, and there was no composure. All our technicality went out the window. And I don't mind our technical ability going out the window, but where is the mentality? Like the frantic energy that you need. So I think that's more where the problem is. Everybody else is like, you still saw the Casemiro, but just because they said it at the beginning, or when the problem is everybody does these lineups that they pick, and if you don't win with the lineup that the coach picked, if the coach's lineup doesn't, then they be like, you should have picked my lineup, because everybody's trying to prove that they were a coach. I don't think we were set up bad. I think what Ten Hag failed to do was to wind our team up, which is one of his jobs. So it's still on him. You got to wind the team up to the moment so that they're ready to go. And I don't feel like we were ready to go. What do you think?
I mean, see the way Man City is operating right now, that this team with that player is operating right now, you're gonna have tough days, even if you're at the absolutely top of your game. Like it's not gonna be easy, because they literally right now are operating at a level where if you could like produce team in a lab and set all the parameters to perfect, that's literally how they're playing right now. Like everything is precise, and even if it's not precise, the players like Haaland's like leaping, getting his foot to a ball which he has no business getting to. And then if you do get the ball, you're not supposed to get any power behind it. And if you do somehow get any power behind it, you're not supposed to get direction behind it. He's somehow making all of this happen in the split second. And he's doing that like week over week. Like you'll see the best players in the world year over year have maybe one such goal every couple of seasons. I think I counted like 5 such goals in like we've been a month or a month and a half into the season now. So that's ridiculous, right? But I feel like tactics wise, as you said, like the whole Ronaldo thing. So you don't play Ronaldo when you're trying to counter press from the front. I totally understand that. But when your tactic in a game, which I don't think it's a bad tactic against Man City, but if your tactic is to give up possession and to play on the counter and have them keep the ball, well, then you don't need somebody to. The whole point of pressing from the front is to get the ball as quickly as possible and start your own attack. So if that's not part of your tactic, then I said like might still play Ronaldo. Ronaldo there. So I think I didn't quite agree with not playing Ronaldo in a game like this, because you're not going to get a lot of chances against Man City. One thing we know with Ronaldo is he is very, very critical. Even at this age, like even last season, his efficiency in front of goal is still very, very high. So I really feel like he should have played Ronaldo. I also feel like the whole Casemiro thing. Like I understand Scott McTominay. I don't think Christian Eriksen is the problem, because, as you said, Christian Eriksen has been one of your best performers. So there's no point getting rid of him.
Right.
But you either don't play McTominay in this game, or you play both McTominay and Casemiro. Like I would say in a game like this, you absolutely pack the midfield, and there's no point trying to stop Haaland. Like, give up on that. You have to stop the supply. So you need to like somehow pack the midfield, and so I would have actually gone with that. Like have 4 midfielders, have Casemiro, have McTominay, have Bruno, and Christian Eriksen, because both Bruno and Eriksen have the ability to hurt you as offensive players too. So it's not that if you play only 2 forwards, you're losing a lot of offensive output. Because anyway, in a game like this, you're talking about moments, you're talking about chances. You're not talking about going into a game like this to dominate offensively. So when you're reducing yourself to a few spells in the game or a few moments, I don't think you need three forwards plus 2 attacking midfielders. Yeah, I think it was a mistake to not play Casemiro, especially in a game like this. Like this guy, if there's one DM in the last decade who's taken care of the best forwards in the world, it's Casemiro. Now, why would you not play him in a game like this? Like these are the kind of games you bought him for, right? You you don't need him versus ammonia and
ammonia.
in midweek.
We do now. I mean, listen, like we have a system. Like Pep has a system, and Ten Hag wants to have a system and play that system.
But he didn't play that system versus City though, and I don't think that was a bad idea. I think it was smart of him to stick to not trying to beat City at their own game.
Right. So it just didn't work, and it didn't work not because we didn't play. And you don't when you practice in a system, sometimes you have to practice it in the tougher games, especially if you want to stress it to see like where the patches need to be and where to fix it, And it's like, so then you play without Casemiro and you play like how you've been playing, and and even if you lose, you it's like having a bad set as a comic. You can have a set that works. It's 5 minutes of material, right? And it works. But then you go to this one place and it doesn't work. And you don't feel bad because it doesn't work. You listen to the tape and you see why it didn't work. And then you fix and strengthen it so that it will work in that scenario if you ever encounter it again. You don't change it and then change the set before you do it. And then even if you have success in that place, you don't know if your other set, if you'd have just did it, would have worked. So you gotta test it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't like if you're on the biggest stage of your life, you wouldn't start out with your weaker material, right?
It's not your weaker material.
Maybe it's so maybe it's like he should know. I mean, that Casemiro is one of the strongest midfielders, and especially against a forward. Like we're talking about Haaland so much, right? Like that level of physicality is on the table, and you need a specific kind of player who knows what to do in those situations.
I saw Casemiro. I saw Casemiro on Foden's goal, which is goal number 6, not even get to Haaland. Like
yeah, but that by then, like I don't know where the motivation is. You need to start with these
had a good
players.
assist on that goal.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that, but I feel like when you're this is not like a normal substitute, right? You're not a substitute where the game's still in the balance. The game was gone. It was only
4-0. The game wasn't gone, and this is what we should do for football now. I feel like we need to like do games in halves. So if you win the first half, you get 3 points. If you win the second half, you get 3 points. So if we go by my theory on this new theory on how to score football games and points, like Man City got 3 points for their 4-0 in the first half, and we won 3-2 in the second half. So the table, we should have 3 points right now.
Or it was a 3-3 draw because the Haaland's not a real person, so it doesn't count. Like the Cyborg scored 3 goals, right? So it doesn't matter.
I mean, in all of this, right? I do want to give Man City their props for just like the media has to stop disrespecting Man City and just giving all the props to Haaland. Like, here's the deal. This is the best team that Haaland has ever been on. And he's the perfect forward that this team could have ever had at this moment in time. And it's a marriage like of perfection for both parties. Like last year, Man City won the league by 1 point. Because of Haaland, they'll win it by way more. And because of him, they'll probably win the Champions League. But you can't like be Haaland. Yeah, he's the new hot thing. but like Foden got 3 2 and 2 assists. Like that's pretty incredible, and De Bruyne's passes, the way that midfield and the skill that they operated, Bernardo Silva, Grealish had a great game. Like he started that game for them. Like he's on a little tear. So I'm not supposed to like Man City, but I don't want Grealish to cost $100 million or pounds or euros and be a failure. That's just he doesn't deserve that. So it's just good to see that he's starting to get going, and they just played overall their game, and the marriage between Haaland and City is organic and it's working, and God help the rest of us. And then Lee has just joined us. He's just doing some shows out there, and got back. Lee Hudson, stand-up comic, Southampton fan. We're talking about the Man U City game. What's your thoughts? I don't know if you heard some of ours, but
I caught a bit of that. It was, I mean, City were just fucking good. Like you were saying, like Haaland's like the cherry on the cake there. He's not the whole team. He's the cherry on the cake that they needed. Because I mean, some of those like balls he was supplied with were pinpoint. Like he still had to finish them. He still had to, and he did well to finish some of them. But they were put in like the perfect area. The only gap that someone could find, and he's there. Like he knows where that ball's going to be, and he knows how to finish. So, you caught him on a good day. You caught Foden on a good day. You caught Grealish on a good day. I still think you guys could have done better. But it's fucking tough when they're like that. It's just not. I'm pretty sure you guys have covered most of it, but yeah, it's just. I came in right at the end of the debate. I heard Casemiro's name mentioned. Is Neil saying they should have gone maybe double pivot? Two proper CDMs in there.
Yeah. Or four across the middle, like Casemiro, Ericsson, and McTominay, and Bruno too.
Yeah, stop the supply. That's the only hope. Somebody like Haaland.
But that's the thing, though. In the system, the forwards are a part of that too. It's like even though they're forwards, their job is to help the whole team defend. It's supposed to like come back and do it too. So it's like,
you can do that the next game. I think this is a special game where you needed a special strategy. At this stage, especially, like Ten Hag is like 10 games in. He doesn't have the team or the strategy like with the lineup or the formation in place to take on City performing at this level and get something out of it. So he has to hack it in some way anyway. And he did. In fact, his tactics were kind of like that. So he should have also like changed his personnel to suit that reality.
I think you've got two options when you play City. Like really, you can either try and stifle them, which limits your attacking output, or you can just go at them, like all guns blazing, just go at them. Like I've seen some teams do it, like Barca did it one year in the Champions League. And you guys kind of did neither.
Right.
You didn't really get at them, but you didn't really stifle them and stop them either. And I think the plan might have been to stifle them, but I think your defenders at times were so just bewildered by what was going on.
I think the plan was to press them, and we didn't press. Like for some reason, I don't know. Like I was just telling Neil, I don't want to say it again to the people who listen. Like the reason why you play Rashford and not Ronaldo is so that he presses, and he didn't press. He didn't lead the line. He didn't do anything. So you might as well just play Ronaldo. You know what I mean? So it's like if you put him out there, he's supposed to like leave a mark on people like Gabriel Jesus does. He's supposed to affect the game by leading the line, like Welbeck does for Brighton Hove, whether he score goals or not. You can see him like keep running into people, and the same thing for Mitrovic. You're supposed to Mitrovic though these sons of a bitches, and there was just like that jogging up to people thing, and then when that person passes, you jog to the person they just passed, and then they just pass. So then you're going back and forth like a windshield wiper, and it's still raining on you. And there's nothing you could do about it. So it's like, hey, man. So I just think the team left their mentality in the bus. But, yeah. Casemiro or not? You guys want to talk about the North London derby?
Let's do it.
I just want to add one more thing
Go ahead.
on the Manchester derby.
Oh, what are you reading?
No. I just remembered like Ten Hag saying that I found it a stunning admission to make about Ronaldo, that he didn't put him on out of respect for his career. Like, it may be true, but I'm surprised that it's true, but I'm absolutely shocked that he actually admitted to it to the media, because you're essentially saying confirming what everybody's been guessing, that he gets special treatment, and it's just I don't know how the dressing room deals with this after that.
I mean, it's definitely tough, and it's this team won't be a complete team until Ronaldo is eventually gone. You know what I mean? And that's just real talk. It's just like I'm sure Ronaldo's doing his best to keep a lid on himself, and Ten Hag is trying to help him hold that lid down, but that pot is, it's boiling. There's water seeping out the side. So
and actually, like, you see what I have to deal with here? I have somebody on the bench and I have to like think a million times what to do with him, like just to not get on the wrong side of the guy.
Right. And then, the subs that he made, eventually at the end of the game, Ten Hag, they did something like Shaw had something to do with one of the goals, and so did Fred, and so did Martial has scored 2. So, hey, man, I like the fact that the game ended 6-3 and that we showed some type of fight that just goes to show, like, with a few individuals showing fight. Imagine if everybody had done that from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like that type of energy. That's why Ten Hag set up the way we were, because he wanted that, but he didn't get it until like it's too late.
And the thing is that setup worked against Arsenal.
Yeah.
With those players, it just, like I say, you didn't execute it as well this time, and City were fucking good.
Yeah. So I believe in it. I get why he did it. North London derby. Ha ha! Spurs get burned at the stake. Who wants to go first?
We knew we weren't going to be seeing Martin tonight, didn't we? He didn't even want to come on to celebrate being top of the fantasy league still, because he knew he was. I thought if I was a Spurs fan, I would be embarrassed by that game, because Tottenham played with no ambition. They played like a League Two team playing a Premier League team in the FA Cup. I'm like, this is your rivals, and you're just, you're rolling over and saying, come at us. Like, I know Spurs, they try and play that rope-a-dope tactic where they sit back and they try and hit the counter, but what else have you got? Like you're meant to be a top team. What else have you got? Top teams have got different dimensions. They don't seem to. I've been saying it all season that they've been getting lucky with their results. I found it astounding that they were still unbeaten going into this game, because they'd had some really poor performances, but teams weren't punishing them, and then they were just relying on the fact that their forward line is very clinical, which they didn't get the opportunity to be in that game. The one goal they got, Arsenal gifted them by fucking around at the back. So that was an absolute gift. And you can't sit back and just play a low block with no ambition against Arsenal, because they've got players now who they didn't have in the past who will pick those holes. Jesus' movement is better than the forward they've had previously. He loves being in the box with players around him. He can bring the ball under control with defenders around him. He can roll people. His technique's great, and then he can finish when he gets in the positions. Martinelli's really good at that as well. Odegaard's a player who can be technically good enough to find little passes around the box. Saka's a tricky player. They've got people who can pull that apart now. Even Xhaka was looking like Ronaldinho at one point. Like, that's embarrassing if you're Tottenham. That result was coming. Like I say, because I think they've been sort of lucky with the amount of points they've got so far this season, because teams haven't really been punishing their poor performances. Just Arsenal deserved it. They turned up. They wanted it. They actually played with some ambition and a game plan that was effective. because sitting back and countering can be an effective game plan. But if it's all you've got, and if you're not doing it very well, especially in a derby, like surely as a Spurs fan, you want to see your team, show up for those games, and they didn't. They, like I say, they played like a small club, which maybe that's what they are.
Damn. What you can you top that?
Sorry, Spurs fans. I'm sure there's some nice Spurs fans out there, but yeah.
I mean that's been Conte's game plan in a lot of these big games, right? Where we try and play on.
He did it against Nottingham Forest. That's all he's got.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty much relying on the efficiency of Kane, Human-Son, Charleston to a little extent. And I mean, yeah, you can do that because they have shown, like even Bruyne, when he was there, relied on them, and he had some amazing seasons now. He had an amazing season from the two of them. But it's how sustainable is that? You're gonna get games where you're not able to, like against Chelsea, both of them they didn't really get a lot of the ball. I don't think it worked against Arsenal. I mean, they got incredibly lucky with the ref versus us. They didn't have the luck this time. So they're always gonna make games unfavorable to themselves with these kind of tactics. And Arsenal, I think they're in a really good spot. Like we spoke about a couple of weeks earlier too. Like they have the makings of title winning Premier League team, because all facets of their game are doing essentially what we've seen title-winning teams in the past do. But I think there was this brief spell where Spurs looked like they were making it a contest, but then that second goal, and it kind of just petered out from there. And the Emerson red card, which I mean, when you go in for a tackle like that, it is always going to be a red card. I think it's really interesting what Arteta is doing with Xhaka. Granit Xhaka, with that, he's not as deep a midfielder anymore. Like he's almost always in the box nowadays. He's playing almost like a Frank Lampard role. He's he's coming forward, he's being creative, and he's attacking the box. It's really like you can get new players. A manager can get new players as players and improve them, getting young players. But I think the true test of a manager is if you can revive somebody who's not had a role, who's not looking good, and give them really show a new level to their game that we haven't seen before. And I think Arteta is doing that really well. I just feel like how you're talking about United had a Manchester City problem last week, but then somebody else is going to have a problem next week. I just feel really bad for Arsenal and Spurs, because I think these teams have one of the best teams in last however many years, but they're not going to get anywhere near the title. Like it's one of the best teams wasted on a season where nobody else is going to get a sniff. So yeah, but so far so good. They're on top. They're top of the table. They are the leaders.
Yeah, they got the points. I got a few things on that game. We know Arsenal came out. They came out like they're on the top of the table, and they played their game, and they imposed their will on Spurs. And then Spurs also tried to play their game, which is a counter-attacking game, which could have worked because there's like 4 or 5 instances where they had the fast break that they needed, but Son or somebody misplaced the weight of the pass, or didn't make the play they were supposed to make to create that goal scoring opportunity. So it could have went either way, despite the way it ended up, or despite the way the game looked. There was like 3 or 4 opportunities where Spurs got that perfect break, where the Son to Kane thing, or the Kane to Son, or the Son to Richarlison thing, like equation ended up, and then the final pass was off, and it was mostly the mistake of Son. So, it's a dirty way. We don't like Spurs. We don't like when they play like that. I can't complain because Man United kind of plays like that. And if you're a team that wants to to win. You're not going to win the league, but maybe Conte's just trying to not win the league this year. I think he's just trying to stay in the top four and then get some more money. But who knows? And then there was something you were saying about Xhaka and Arteta changing his position. But I'm wondering, did Arteta change his position, or did Spurs drop back so far? Like their low block was in their stands. Like it just made him look like he was forward. Like they would drop back and leave so much room. Like it's almost like they're like, we've seen Xhaka shoot, he can't shoot. Give him that. We want him to shoot. You know what I mean? Which, their breaks didn't work and his shot worked. And Partey's shot, that ain't even supposed to go in. Like
he tried that in preseason against us, just give the side of the goal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same shot on the same part of the pitch.
That's some De Bruyne shit. Like if De Bruyne scores that, they talk about that all week. They keep replaying it. They tell you how much that's like perfection, that thing right there.
And having him back was so big for them as well.
Huge. Yeah. Like I'm glad he didn't play against us. That could have been the difference between us winning that game. And then the red card is like, when is Spurs going to get a guy to play?
It's not an absolute liability
on the right side of the field. That it's like you can't replace Aurier with Aurier. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like let's get rid of Aurier. He makes two mistakes. Who are you going to replace him with? Another Aurier. It's like somebody else that like they're almost like for like. So Emerson's, I guess he's been decent. And hasn't made mistakes like that, but that one really cost them. And once they got that card, like Arsenal was already dominating, and you knew they weren't going to stop dominating now that Spurs were down a man. So the game was pretty much over. But yeah, good, well played, Arsenal. Arteta, shutting up all his doubters, and him and Edu and the crew keep marching on. Where do you guys think we should go next?
I'm just trying to think. I mean, there was a game that resulted in a sack-in. Wasn't a big game, but
the Bruno Lodge.
Yeah.
West Ham. And I
mean
both,
Liverpool 3, Brighton 3 as well is another big one to cover.
What do you guys think about that?
I think Brighton are going to be really fun to watch under Roberto De Zerbi. I said before that he's a good fit. His teams play really entertaining ways. That he's a good person to go in there and try and carry on the work that Potter was doing and also put his own stamp on it. Like they went to Liverpool and they had a go at them. They sensed weakness there. And they're going to be the sort of team who attack everyone. Hopefully they do the same to Spurs this weekend, because Lord knows Spurs aren't going to attack. It was a fun game. Trossard was cold with his finishes as well. Just working off that shoulder of the defenders to just get in and finish across the keeper. He scored 2 that were in a really similar position. And then the third and final one, he got a little bit lucky with, where it just hit it into the ground and it took it in past Alisson. But yeah, he was great. Obviously, Firmino's decided he's going to turn up this season now that he's got some more or a new challenger in Nunez, and trying to keep his spot on that team. He took his goal as well. Just a fun game to watch, that one, just end to end. Liverpool still showing that they're so open at the back. Klopp doesn't seem to have the answers to fix that, it seems. Like he's had quite a few games now to try and sort that out, and they're still leaking goals. So I don't quite know what's going there. And he, I feel like he's getting baited in the press conferences now by the journalists. They know how to push his buttons. They mention Trent, like they know how to get him and get him to start losing his cool. And he's starting to crack, I think, a little bit, which is interesting. I think every manager has a shelf life at a club. I don't know if his is done at Liverpool yet, but I mean, he needs to find a way to kind of refresh things, I think, because it seems to have, like, his methods just seem to be fading a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, normally I don't like. It's not that normally. Like sometimes the journalists will jump on like one thing, and then they all ride it. But one thing that they said across the board was like, after all those years, that midfield is tired, and we know we talked about them being old. And the funny thing is, I thought Fabinho he's only 28. I thought he was older than that. I was like, it's a type of reverse trying to get into a club. Like, let me see your ID.
No, but
show you this stage.
But I think if you play
Let's see the
for
real
Klopp,
ID.
though, I think if you play for Klopp, though, if somebody's 28, you should just assume that he's 31, 32, because playing in that club system year over year adds more age to your system.
Yeah.
So it's probably not the same math as you think for normal 28-year-old. And that's probably why the biggest mistake Klopp has done is not refresh that part of the field. And even though you feel you have players in your prime, and he put his eggs in the whole Navigator and Oxlade-Chamberlain basket, I think it just cleared through everybody like a couple of seasons back that those two aren't going to work out. And they were supposed to be the Henderson and Wijnaldum replacement for the next version of it. Well, guess what? It's James Milner at 75 years old who's still getting more game time in those positions there. So I think there's been some dereliction of duty when it comes to squad planning, and that's, you could say, like, that's the biggest difference between Pep and Klopp. Like, Pep is always thinking about, he's not resting on his laurels. He's always thinking about the next season. He has no problem. Like, he'll put on a big show for the cameras saying, we cannot replace him for Sergio Aguero, but he has absolutely no emotional attachment that'll stop him kicking him out of the club when he feels that the time has run out. Klopp's probably a little more loyal to his own
Klopp
disadvantage.
Yeah. Pep's like Dexter. He'll kill you. He'll get rid of you. He'll keep a blood sample of your slide just to prove that you played for him. But he'll keep it moving.
I don't think they're playing that badly, though. I think the results are worse than how they were playing because they still they still play that system where they counter press, they get the ball really high, and they charge towards goal, and they are able to get the goals too. But I think defensively they're really the midfield isn't helping the defense, and we've spoken about it. Trent needs a lot of backup, and if the backup's not backup, he can't deal with it on his own.
So that's the thing. We talked about also like the counter press not being what it was, right? And they're not winning those balls. And then when you have like a fullback who's pushed up and he's counting on the forwards and the midfielders to collapse around the person with the ball, and that collapse is not there to force the ball back into their hands, so you don't have to worry about being counterattacked, then now you're under danger. And then who's going to be blamed? It's the guy who committed to help the offense. Now he has to defend without the offense helping him defend. So a lot of this blame that's going to Trent is just like a failure of the system overall, and not Trent. Like, you could pick at one person, but I think
Van Dijk's been really terrible this season. Van Dijk's like he's had almost like a mistake a game. So, and we're talking about probably the best centre back in the world last 5 years. He's not been great. I think Alisson's the only player who has been like in the defensive shape has been really good so far. And Lee brought up the fact that Klopp's getting baited. Right? You saw what he said about Trent in the press conference, where he was asked about Trent's position in the England squad. And it's a very sensitive topic for him. So he goes on to say, well, Trent's not a bad defender. He's a good defender who sometimes doesn't defend good, and that was fine. You back your player. I don't expect him to say anything else. But then he goes on this 6 to 7 minute detailing every single aspect of Trent's game in the system. Like, you're pretty much giving away the book to your next opponents. So yeah, Klopp, I don't think he's ever going to be under pressure at Liverpool in terms of his spot, but yeah, he needs to like figure out. He's never rebuilt a team. Like he had a good team at Mainz. He had a good team at Dortmund, but he never actually performed a rebuild at either of those two teams. And he's probably going to have to do it now for the first time in his career at Liverpool.
Yeah, it's just some shit he has to learn. Like he played for teams that didn't they weren't at the top of the food chain, and therefore he's never been at this part of football before. So since we're talking about Liverpool and we finished talking about Arsenal, they play next weekend. So before we even get to like how Chelsea did, Southampton did, what the big game next weekend is Liverpool versus Arsenal. Who y'all got and why?
I mean, I'm going to sit on the fence for this one and say a draw.
Why?
Let me just have a look. Where's it at? I feel like
I don't think that's the fence. That's one of the three possibilities.
It's at Arsenal as well. I just think Liverpool will, they'll be up for right in the sort of the run they're in. I think they'll show up. I don't think they'll show up enough to win the game, but I think they'll take a point. And I think Arsenal might be a little overconfident after beating Tottenham. But I don't think Liverpool, because Liverpool won't play like Tottenham did. Liverpool won't just sit in and say, "Can you break us down?" Which Arsenal quite clearly could against Tottenham. So I think it'll be a bit more of an open game. This one, I think it'll be almost like a basketball game. It'll be going like back and forth. Both teams trying to get at each other. So I think it'll be a really entertaining one. I don't think either team will keep a clean sheet. I think it could easily be like a 2-2 or something. So I think it'll be pretty open, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a really good game. It'd be interesting to see if Arsenal can step up and show their credentials by dispatching this Liverpool team. Because if they do, then obviously it gives them another level of confidence after the previous wins against Spurs and that, and then it gives Liverpool that additional headache of oh shit, we're off the top teams this season. So I think
it's going to be 14 points of Arsenal if they lose.
Yeah, so it could be really big if they lose. But I think they'll kind of cancel each other out, and I think it'll be a draw.
What you think, Neil?
I actually won't be surprised if Liverpool win this because they do have the big game players. And I think like when I see their games, you see a lot of mistakes, but you also see like when they're trying going forward, they do have the traditional Liverpool and the Klopp things in place. So I feel it's a matter of everything falling in place. And if they get the right personnel and they can just eliminate out those mistakes at the back, you would expect people like Van Dijk, Matip to turn up, and it's probably going to be a game like this that it's a big game. They lost the last big game, so yeah, I'm expecting a reaction, and these guys must probably be feeling the pressure, right? So, and they know they're going up against the league leaders. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they win. Although Arsenal are playing, even though it hurts me to say that. That's why Arsenal are playing very, very good football.
Yeah, they're balling. This is a tough one because I want to say Arsenal, but I don't want to say Arsenal because it's Arsenal. You know what I mean? So they're at home.
Yeah.
They're flying. Arteta is not the type of, even the game they lost to us, they were still on top of their game. So it's not like they had a performance blip like we did, where like we didn't show up to the Etihad. Like they've showed up in all their games. So it's hard to see or imagine them not showing up to play Liverpool at home. And they're just like been better at most things all over the pitch than Liverpool has been all season. And they're just younger and fresher and without the injuries. And it might just be they just have the right time on their side. And I don't think Arteta's going to like ease up on the intensity. Like, so I guess I just have to give it to Arsenal, which say Arsenal wins, then what happens to Liverpool? Because that's the most interesting thing. Like, if Arsenal loses, they already beat Spurs, so nobody can say they can't beat somebody big. But if Liverpool loses this, what is everybody going to be saying about Liverpool? I know they're going to be like, Liverpool's season is over. Will they even make the top four? You know, people, they're going to be talking like that. So what do you think a loss for Liverpool will have people saying? I mean, and then maybe that's when Liverpool starts believing themselves. Like, you know, you could lose until you start believing you're a loser.
Yeah.
You know, you could lose and then like all the time, nah, we just need another game and we'll get them. But there's a point when you lose, when you start believing that you're not what you thought you were. And then that's when you're kind of done. So that game?
Liverpool have a game in hand, but right now they're level on points with Brentford and Everton. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I can't really say shit because Everton beat us at the weekend. But if you're a Liverpool fan, if you're level on points with Everton, that's never a good thing. And admittedly, like I say, Liverpool got one game in hand, so we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, I still think, you know, they should be up in that mix. Even if they lose this game, I think they should still be able to put a run together at some point. Because, I mean, you look at some of the teams above them, like they should be able to overtake Fulham. They should be able to, well, actually, you know, some of them teams are tough, like Brighton and Newcastle will be interesting to see how long they can keep their form up to stay up there. But they're two teams that Liverpool should be able to bypass. And then it depends with, you know, guys like you and Chelsea, if you can put some form together, because you've both been inconsistent at times this season. And then obviously, you know, I think Arsenal and I think City will run away with the league eventually, and Arsenal should be on their coattails. But it's going to be interesting to see how that top section of the table shapes up, because I think there's still a lot of unknowns at this stage of the season. Like a lot of teams who haven't really shown what they're going to be like for the season. There's been a lot of inconsistency, I think, outside of City and Arsenal.
Neil, you want to talk about Chelsea versus Crystal Palace?
It was a very poor performance, but you know, we got the 3 points, which I guess just allows a little more breathing space for Potter, what he's trying to do with the team. A couple of really good performances of the bench. Gallagher, Christian Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek. I think they played well, and so he's getting a few performances out of these guys. But I think overall it's very patchy. We really don't know like what is the style of play under Potter. It's probably a little too early to even expect anything like that. But we really weren't looking like, you know, we that these 11 players have played a lot of football with each other under these principles. So it was very scratchy. Like, I think a draw would have probably been the fairest result. But you know, we got
never say that. Never.
Just looking at the stats, you dominated the ball, and but I mean 3 shots each on target, so it looks like you weren't doing that much with it, which means Palace probably were letting you have it, I guess. What was your shape like in that game? Because you played with the back 4 this time, but how did it look ahead of that?
So it was a 4-2-2-2.
Yeah, so that's bad if you're copying Hasenhutt's formation.
Yeah, I mean, Tuchel's used the formation a lot too, and not a lot. I mean, like, but when he's gone to a 4 at the back, he's kind of tended to use that formation. So we had Jorginho and Kovacic behind, and then Mount and Havertz, and then Sterling and Aubameyang up front. and Kovacic was poor, Mount was poor, Havertz was poor, Sterling was not good. Like, he's been really good so far. He's probably been a best player for this game. But yeah, he was not good. Aubameyang wasn't great, but he got the goal and he had another couple of good moments in the game. But
he took the goal really well.
Took the goal really well. Like it was, it was like a very high quality striker's finish.
Let me ask you a question. Was that a red?
I don't think it was a red, but it was a red if you know anything about the way Chelsea's defending right now.
No, Thiago Silva.
I mean, the last day there has to be an obvious goal scoring opportunity, right? Denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. I don't think it was an obvious goal scoring opportunity because of the distance from the goal, the angle, and the fact that Fofana was more central, so he was more closer to the goal and was just maybe a yard away. So it wasn't a clear one-on-one. But if you have any knowledge of how Chelsea is defending right now, it was more than just an obvious goal scoring opportunity. But I don't think the law can go on that. So
I think it's a red card. I think it's an obvious goal scoring opportunity. Your defender is down. Like the goal, it's a goal scoring opportunity. It's going to be a one-on-one. I don't know if the player is going to put it away, but it's going to be a one-on-one.
I don't think it's going to be a one-on-one because I said like Fofana is closer.
I don't think Fofana didn't have the angle on him. Like I saw where he was. Like Fofana did not have the angle on him.
Fofana was much closer to the center of the goal, though.
Yeah, but you don't have to be.
Was going away.
No, I saw where Fofana was.
Yeah.
I saw where it's like you can score from the angle that.
And Fofana had to run without the ball. Ayew has to run with the ball.
Listen, it's a goal scoring opportunity. It's a one-on-one.
I know it's a goal scoring opportunity, but I'm just saying it's like I don't think it's an obvious goal scoring opportunity.
It's pretty obvious. It's a red.
Yeah.
It's a red.
I don't think it's
definitely a red. But I don't mind you getting away with it because I just remember the Spurs game when Cucurella got his head here.
No, that was obvious. That was obvious. You couldn't have a conversation.
Not to the ref. Not to the ref. It was obvious.
No, wait a second. The ref wrote an open article the next day saying that he made a mistake.
Yeah, but
Mike Dean.
It's too late. It's too late.
Mike Dean. I don't think the ref is going to do that in this case.
We need you to admit that in the game. And this ref should write another op-ed saying he made a mistake.
I don't think he is. That's what I'm saying. but I'll be very honest. The way we are defending right now, if those things are considered, like that was an absolutely obvious goal scoring opportunity because we are absolutely shit on the transition these days.
Neil, let me just finish the statement. A one-on-one goal scoring opportunity against Kepa. It's a goal. It's basically.
To be fair,
no, I don't think
from Thiago Silva that. From Thiago Silva, that was better handling than Mendy or Kepa have shown this season.
True.
I don't know why he's trying to make the decision though for the referee because he handled the ball because he thinks it's a foul on him. Like the way I kind of jostled him down. He thinks it's a foul on him, so he takes the law into his own hands to swipe the ball out as if of course it's a foul. What are you doing? Like why I hate that when players try and not play to the whistle.
Nah, because he knows that the game has gotten tougher and they're calling things less. So he's like, I'm gonna make sure they call this. So and it worked out.
One way or the other.
It worked out. It worked out in your favor.
Yeah.
Lee, do you think it was? I know you're just gonna agree with me that it was a red card, but just say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a red card. You can't do that.
Yeah, straight up, red as.
If that happens to your team, you will be livid if that's not a red card.
Thank you. Well, you got away with it, and you won the game. But just say it's a red. We got away with it.
No. We could have still because the way we won.
Don't be like, I was on an angle without the ball.
We could have won because the way we won had nothing to do with, we won due to a couple of moments of skill. We didn't play well. So
Right.
We could have won even with 10 men like we did against Leicester. But it is what it is. I think a draw would have been a fairer reflection of the game, like with or without 10 men.
You also won at the end of the game in one of the goal scorer couldn't have been more. There couldn't have been more irony in who scored the goal. Conor Gallagher. He made his name as like a legit Premier League player for Crystal Palace all last season. He scored 8 goals for them, and he bossed that midfield for them, and they wanted to buy him. And this is the reason why they wanted to buy him, so that he wouldn't score this goal and take their 3 points yesterday. But that's pretty impressive.
It's a great goal, and also it's something that we needed because we haven't had midfielders who take shots and are capable of scoring such goals from outside the box. This is a high time that we have that, because it also, like, when you don't have that, it makes your team very predictable too. Because opponents, what they do is they're gonna have that low block and they're gonna cut out they're just gonna cloud you out centrally, because they know you can't do much wide, you can't do much far out. So they play the numbers game and they can actually make it land their favor. But now if you have players like Gallagher who can take these shots, then suddenly you have to have somebody charge out to him. And then what that creates a space in behind. So I think it's apart from it being a great wonder goal, I think it also helps Potter in making up his tactics for future games.
All right. Lee, what that Southampton do?
Not much is the answer. It was a weird game against Everton. We scored to go 1-0 up. Joe Aribo scored a good goal. I like him as a player. He seems decent.
Enjoy this one season with him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's everyone's going to be tarred with the brush. I think that we're just not doing it this year. But he scored a good goal. I was keeping an eye on the score. I've watched the game back afterwards, but I was out. I was keeping an eye on the score. I saw we went 1-0 up. I was like, okay, this is good. We took a little while to break them down, but we scored the goal, and then we conceded 2 within the next 4 minutes to be 2-1 down. So from 2-1 up, from 1-0 up, sorry, we've gone to 2-1 down, and it's like, that's just poor. Like, it's a weak mentality to score and then just concede 2 straight away. And we had twice as many shots as Everton, but still only had the same amount as them on target. We're just bad going forward this season. We're not scoring enough goals. Before this, we lost 2 games 1-0 in a row, and then this one we lost 2-1. So I think something like we've only taken 12 points from our last 20 games, including the back end of last season.
Don't do that to yourself. I hate when teams do that to themselves. Like, they go back into the season before to make a stat worse. It's like, aren't you suffering enough in the present? Like, why you got to bring the past into this shit?
This is just me making a case for how bad our form's been for over a period of time. And it was interesting reading an article about Hasenhuttl the other day, just saying that a lot of players wanted him out at the end of last season because they felt like he had stopped being effective. Apparently, he stopped all communication with the players other than on the training pitch. He's not, being a human to them at all, which is, I think, a bad sign as a manager if you're not communicating at all with players. Like, you don't need to be their best friends. There needs to be a line there, but it sounds like he's become very cold and a bit distant. His methods maybe not, working like they do when they're at their best. And I mean, as I said earlier on in the podcast, every manager has a shelf life at a club. It's, the days of a Fergie or a Wenger are pretty much gone. It's rare that happens now. So maybe he is coming to that, because he's always shown promise with us. Like, we've looked in spells like, oh, he's got something. We've beaten some big teams. He puts a good run of form together, and then it just goes bad again. It's like, well, that would be understandable if you're in your first or second season here, but this is his 5th season, I think. And it's like, are you ever gonna get us past that level, or is this just where you're at, kind of thing? And I think, there's been a bit of change in the squad. We signed some young players, but we should be aspiring to more than what we're getting at the moment. I don't think they'll sack him after this game. I don't think that'll happen. But I think I could see it coming in the next few games if we still don't pick up some results. Because even this season, like we showed, we beat Leicester, we played pretty well. We beat Chelsea, we played pretty well, and then we just the opening day against Spurs was a calamity. And then these recent games have been bad. So we're such a weird team to follow because it's so up and down, and there's little sparks of hope, and then it just disappears immediately. So I don't know if he's the man to get us the consistency we need, because he's had a long time now to try and do that and hasn't. And we should be aspiring to be more than 16th or 17th place every season. I want to be 12th or 13th.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. He'll be gone in
no forward beat you.
They got Mopé now.
Like I said, how did you let a team with no forward? I mean, they do have Mopé, and they have a bunch of
McNeil took his goal really well. It was his first. I think it was his first goal for them, but he took that really well. Really good strike. But yeah, we're just bad. We're just bad.
Of Conor.
Yeah, off a set piece. Yeah, I think both of them scoring their first goals for the club is. It's just poor from us. We're making the same mistakes in games. It's the same problems. Like I say, not good enough at the front of the pitch and too sort of disorganized at the back of the pitch. So you get those things, and we've got good individual defenders. Chakravarty, who played at the weekend, he's a good individual defender, but he's new. Bella Kotchap's new. He's a good individual defender, but we just look bad defensively as a team. Like Bazunu, the new keeper, is a good keeper, but again, it's just as a unit, we don't look convincing defensively. And going forward, we don't look like we're going to have enough goals in us this season. And that both of those things are a worry.
Well, good thing you're going to get a breather next week.
Who?
You play Man City.
Yeah, we got City next. So
you good. You stop Haaland. You got it. You got this.
You know what? I've been saying somebody needs to take one for the league. You guys got to do it. You guys, Bella Kotchap doesn't. He's got to get on those ankles.
Yeah, everybody in the league. I mean, that's appalling. I can't believe Bella Kotchap did that. But then secretly they'll be like, send Bella Kotchap some flowers.
I mean, if Hasenhuttl can somehow get something against City, that'll go a long way to extending his stay. But I don't think they'd sack him after a loss to City, so it's almost kind of a gimme, that one. He can breathe for a week, and unless we get beaten 12-0 or something, which you never know. It's always a possibility with us. I'm going to be captaining Haaland this weekend. I tell you that much.
I just want to say on the back of that game, Frank Lampard's Everton now best defense in the league, and even better than Man City actually.
I mean, we have to play them, and they play hard, so he's actually doing a really good job. Like only a few wins, or a couple wins, but they get points. I think there's only one game they didn't get a point from.
I think two. Yeah, I think they've had 2 losses,
right? And
one of those losses was against us where we won a penalty.
Dubious.
So yeah, but they've been doing pretty well, and I think because of the circumstances of last season where they kind of had to just somehow scrape, it kind of almost forced Lampard to focus on the defense a lot, and that's kind of helped. And as Chelsea fans, we've seen it with him. I've always felt like he's a pretty competent defensive coach. It's just that we had a horrible defensive record under him. We conceded on 54 goals, but I mean, I keep saying it. That kept our season. Any other statistic other than the actual goals against you look at, we were in the top 4 or 5, like shots conceded, shots on target conceded, XGA, post shot XGA. Like we were doing okay. Like we were in the top 4 or 5, all the statistics. It's just that we had the worst goalkeeping season of all time in the Premier League. So,
I mean, I wouldn't put it all on. I wouldn't put it all on Kepa. There were a few things.
You don't have to. Like, there's a number that we can look at.
I know, but
you can compare it against 520 other keepers.
I just remember Werner not scoring sitters, and I remember
that was the next season. I'm talking about the season, the first full season under Lampard.
Right. But he still finished in the top four. He was
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we had to be such a good defensive team to account for that goalkeeping performance and still stay in the top four.
Yeah, I was talking about the season where he got fired, where Rudiger, was not his best, and there's a bunch of issues there. You want Champions League is this week?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, and one of the big games is Inter Barca for tomorrow.
What are the group standings looking like on those teams?
Let's see. I know Barca has a loss.
Yeah, that means Bayern are playing Pilsen.
So Bayern they're doing well in the groups.
Basically, it's going to be between Barcelona and Inter, right? One of them, they both have a loss and a win.
Well, it's interesting. In the league, Mane's been getting some criticism in Germany because he's not been scoring. So Liverpool have been missing him, and he's been missing Liverpool, I think.
I mean, is he their 9?
I think sometimes. I think he can play that. Sometimes they have Muller as the 9. Sometimes it's Mane. But he can play off the wing as well.
Right.
Spurs have got Frankfurt away. That's not an easy game. Europa League winners.
No, they're the conference league winners, right?
Nah, Frankfurt won the Europa League. They beat Rangers in the final last season. Roma won the conference, I think.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah, that'd be fun if Conte loses 2 matches. Well, we're gonna see Conte sit back, play low block, and and defend against Frankfurt like they're Arsenal.
Man City got Copenhagen. Poor Copenhagen. I wonder if he'll rest Haaland for that one.
He should, or you could get the points early and then you rest him.
Yeah, it's true.
Chelsea versus Milan on Wednesday.
It's going to be a tough game, and we've made it so tough for ourselves because we got 1 point out of 2 games versus Zagreb, and I don't even remember the other team. There's some other group, Zagreb and Salzburg. So we definitely need to. We can't afford to lose either of those 2 games. We have back-to-back games versus Milan now in 2 weeks, home and away, and we can't afford to lose either of them. And we definitely have to win at least 1 of them. So.
Yeah, this is where it's at.
This is supposed to be an easy group. We made it so tough for ourselves. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna win even 1 game versus Milan.
Does Benfica have a chance of surprising PSG?
Probably not. They lost all their, or not lost all their, but obviously they lost some of their key players from last season with Nunez and people. I don't know if they're quite as strong now. PSG, great form in some of their games as well. So I think they'll take that.
I was watching PSG versus Nice, right?
Yeah.
And it's surprising to see how many players we know from the Premier League playing for Nice.
Oh yeah, they're Premier League rejects FC. Yeah.
Ross Barkley, Pepe's in Nice. Ramsey, and there's
Lamina used to play for us.
Right.
Schmeichel's there as well.
Michael, yeah.
That's a crazy team.
And who else? Yeah, it's like I was like, damn, I know I'm not supposed to know this many Nice players. but I think they lost 2-1 or 1-0.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2-1. Messi and Mbappe with the goals.
Yeah. Messi had a free kick that was crazy. And Mbappe came on in the second half, so they rested him, and he got a goal. So I guess they're trying to stagger these guys out, but Nice put up a fight.
I think Nice are owned by the guy. They're owned by a British guy, the one who, yeah, the one who was sniffing around Chelsea and was also looked at buying United as well.
All right.
I think his real plan was like, now we know his real plan is actually to get Ross Barkley.
He just wanted Barkley.
Yeah.
just anywhere Ross Barkley's at. That's right. That's what he's into. Yeah. I guess we don't have to do this long. We could just do the fantasy league where I know I'm doing terrible, and then we'll just do the midweek after we do the Thursday show after after the Champions League and talk about the games, the Champions League, Europa League, and
who have United got in the Europa?
Oh, let me go back to that screen. Hold on a second.
I'm just loading up fantasy football right now.
Oh, we got it's ammonia.
That's a chemical, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I think they're from I think they're Cypriot.
From Cyprus, yeah.
That'd be interesting. I know nothing about them.
I know.
Yeah, fantasy football. Obviously, I mean, if anyone didn't captain Haaland this week, then you're going to be losing points. Unfortunately, number one in the league is Martin still.
Damn.
I'll begrudgingly give Martin credit. He had Haaland. He had Trossard for Brighton, which is a good pick because he obviously hit a hat-trick as well. He had Kane, he had Jesus. It was quite funny because he actually benched all of his Arsenal players because he thought obviously Spurs were gonna do something there. But Jesus was his first sub who got 8 points, and he came in because Martin picked Kulusevski over Jesus. And Kulusevski didn't play.
Wait a minute. You could sub in the league?
No, if you have a player who doesn't play, they automatically get subbed out if they're injured or if they don't play any minutes. So Martin got 95 points this week.
Jesus.
Which is if you get near 100 or break 100, that's pretty big. Two other guys got the triple figures though. Gajan Lau, who was top previously, he's now second, but he got 100 points bang on. This week. So he had Haaland, he had De Bruyne, he had Maddison. That got him a lot of points tonight.
Oh
yeah. He had Melier in goal for Leeds as well, got 11 points. And the other player was Danny Konjaski, who got 104 points. He got the highest score this week, I think. He captained Maddison and he had Haaland. So he was racking up some big points in there. See if anyone else got any triple figures. No,
I definitely didn't. How many points did I get? I didn't even touch that thing.
Let's have a look. You got 45 points. You need to get Haaland in.
How?
I mean, you had Trippier, you got you 7 points. You had Firmino, he got you 2 goals. You had Vardy, got an assist tonight. So you had some players in there. Neil was actually off the bottom.
Oh shit! Congratulations, Neil.
Yeah, because Neil's playing proper now. He had Haaland.
I finally buckled, and no, I didn't really go completely against my philosophy, but I realized like if you don't have Haaland, you're actually doing a disservice to yourself.
Right.
So I just made that one change.
Yeah. So Neil got off the bottom. Bottom spots now our good friend Joseph Duda. He's slipped to the bottom.
Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome. He's too busy DMing. You better focus on your team.
Come on, Joey, get off the bottom. Put Neil back there.
Yeah.
But it's competitive at the top though. There's not. I mean, I'm in 9th place with 500 points, and Martin's top with 550.
Oh, so that can be in range.
There's 50 points between the top and me in 9th, so it's pretty bunched up. We're still early doors. We've still got 31 games for some teams to play. So there's a lot more football to come.
All right, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try to reset this team and make some substitutions. Like I've been frustrated every time I try to do something. I spend hours doing it and nothing happens, and the team stays the same. So I just the last few weeks, to be honest, I'll be like, fuck it. I had the whole international break to figure out how to change my team, and I didn't even touch it because of the 2 weeks before trying to do it. So Friday night, I'm gonna try it again. Try to get Haaland, and hopefully
That's it.
magic happens.
Play that wild card. Start again.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that.
Get the top boys in.
I'm gonna do that. So yeah, you guys down to do this again Thursday?
Yeah, for sure.
I might play football tonight with Martin too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, go Santa Monica and
Nice.
and play down there. So
I played in a comedians game yesterday, and I'm still hurting today.
oh, word? How was that?
It was good fun. It was good fun.
Did you play outfield or goal?
We played for an hour, and I started in goal, and I said that I would stay in goal until I concede. Because normally we switch keeper every time someone lets in a goal, but I played 55 minutes without conceding.
Oh,
so
nice.
I played 5 minutes outfield at the end.
You still got it. You still got it. So you must have been diving all over the place.
So I'm assuming you guys won if you didn't concede.
Yeah, we conceded. Well, we conceded in the 55th minute of the hour, and that's when I went outfield and went and scored because I was angry.
Oh, and scored too. Shit.
Yeah, but no, it's fun. It's a very mixed ability level group. Some good guys.
Was it a? Please tell me it was an all-star game.
It wasn't a.
Was it an all-star game? Are you guys copying off Todd Bowley already?
No, it's just a group of comedians who like football, and some of us are good, some of us are bad, and some of us are in the middle. And none of us are fit and healthy. So, actually, no, some of them are. To be fair, I'm not though. Like I say, I'm hurting today.
Yeah, I gotta go stretch.
Yeah.
So that I only half injure myself as much as I would have if I don't. Yeah.
You know, I can't wait to see those short videos. Then, if you guys are playing, are you gonna be putting up any videos?
Who's gonna record it? Like, we just gonna be out there. I just, you'll see.
You want to see Martin?
Is Martin just going to sit in his own half and try and play on the counter attack?
Martin, it's hilarious. Martin likes to go forward. He ain't gonna try to help nobody defend.
Oh, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah.
No passing, just shooting all the time.
Yeah, hopefully my knees over toes exercises. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I'm going. I follow this guy called Knees Over Toes, and it like if you exercise your legs properly, you eliminate like knee surgery, and like he can dunk from like crouching down with his back to the basket and just go straight up and dunk because he's been bulletproof in his legs. So yeah, so and like so I would just be in the gym trying these exercises because I got terrible knees. So I want to use my leg without my knees. So that's what I'm trying to do. So we'll see. I'll let y'all know from the wheelchair Thursday if it worked. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Thank you, Aaron Brungardt, producer, his daughter Ruby. Don't listen to this podcast episode because she's a United fan, and just listen next. Listen on Thursday. Thursday we should be able to beat Ammonia, and we have some United will have
famous last words.
I know exactly. Ammonia is gonna clean our asses off the pitch. Shit. But thanks Neil, thanks Lee, and thank you all for listening and watching. Like, subscribe, leave comments. We'll get back at you in the comment section. And peace, y'all. Be good. And there was a terrible. What happened in what was it? Indonesia? Yeah. So let's I don't know what happened exactly, the tragedy. Let's all do everything we can to avoid something like that happening at a football match ever again. Everything with all our powers. All right, and love goes out to everyone. All right, peace, y'all. One. All right. Let's get a picture.
Ian, are you there? You go up. Let's see Ian.
He froze right at the moment.
Yeah. Like his camera quality started to go a little bad, so I figured something is up. Yeah.
I mean, if it's now is a good time for it to go rather than in the middle of the episode.
Yeah.
Just can't get the pick. You give him a second, see if he comes back.
Yeah. Oh boy.
We're still rolling as well, aren't we? I think.
Oh. Let's get. I'll get him from the video, I guess, from the club. All right, 3, 2. Got it. I just saw Ian raise his hand on the video.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think that's like if your mic's muted and you want to say something.
Oh, it said he's left now. We'll see if he comes back a sec or.
Yeah.
I don't know who has to let him in though. Is it Aaron who has the host privilege?
Yeah. Alan, are you there? Yeah, I think you can.
I think we're safe.
I think it's yeah.
Yeah, we can bounce. Cool.
All
All
right,
right, man. I'll catch you in the chat.
Yep.
See you
Bye.
later, man.